Nancy sat outside their small cracked mud house, flipping through the pages of an old biology textbook. Her worn-out slippers dangled from her feet as the evening breeze gently swept through their compound. Chickens clucked in the background, and the smell of firewood smoke filled the air. She barely noticed. Her mind was fixed on her dream to graduate from university and become a pharmacist. At 21, Nancy was the first in her entire family to ever step foot in a university. Her father, a local carpenter, had only gone as far as primary 6. Her mother never saw the inside of a classroom. They were proud of her, no doubt, but they didn't understand why a girl her age wasn't thinking about marriage. "Nancy, come here," her mother called from inside the kitchen. "Yes, Mama," she responded, placing a piece of paper inside her textbook to mark the page before rushing inside. Her mother turned. "I was talking with your father yesterday. You are not getting any younger. Girls your age already have 1 or 2 children. Is it this school that will marry you?" Nancy sighed, keeping her eyes on the ground. "Mama, I just need time, I promise. Once I graduate, you won't suffer again. Let me just finish." Her mother sighed deeply, more out of fear for Nancy's future than anger. "We don't have money to train you forever. If one good man comes now, we will not stop him. Just remember that." That night, Nancy sat with a candle, reading while her younger siblings slept beside her. Her father came inside the room and stood looking at her. "Nne, I hope you know what you are doing," he said softly. "School is good, but your mother has a point. A girl your age must be wise." "I understand, Papa. Just give me time, please," Nancy said. Her father nodded and returned back to his room. Nancy knew the road ahead would be rough, but her determination was stronger than any obstacle. She was going to finish school, no matter what. Nancy walked briskly through the university gates, clutching her bag to her side. Her class was by 8 a.m. and she couldn't afford to be late. Her face was set, eyes fixed forward, ignoring the catcalls and greetings from some boys leaning on the wall. "Fine girl, slow down now. You dey form holy pass everybody. Na only you dey go school." Nancy had had it all. Since her first year, she had made it clear she wasn't interested in distractions. Books came first, while other girls wore flashy clothes and posted pictures with their boyfriends. Nancy wore simple gowns and hardly even posted on social media. In her class, she sat beside her best friend Titi. This lecturer sef, he likes early morning too much. Must he even come to class too early? Titi muttered under her breath. Nancy smiled faintly, pulling out her textbook and notebook. Titi was one of the few people who truly understand Nancy. She never pressured her into dating or skipping classes. During break, a guy from their department, Michael, approached Nancy with a drink and meat pie. "Nancy, I know you say you want to face your book, but just give me a chance. I am not like the others. I will wait for you." Nancy smiled politely and returned the snack. "Thank you, Michael, but I am not ready for now." He walked away disappointed. Titi looked at her. "You for collect the meat pie now? And if you know you don't need it, you forgive me." "It's better this way," Nancy said, zipping her bag. By the time classes ended that day, Nancy had read 2 chapters ahead of the lecturer. She was focused, determined, and nothing was going to derail her dreams. It was a Thursday afternoon. The sun was harsh, and Nancy had just finished a practical class. Her bag hung loosely on her shoulder as she stepped out of the school gates, planning to buy food from a nearby canteen. As she approached the road, she looked left and right. Just as she was about to cross, a black SUV came speeding out of nowhere. "Jesus!" she screamed, jumping backward. The car screeched to a halt, inches from her. Her heart pounded wildly as doors sprung open and a man in a neatly ironed kaftan jumped out. I am sorry. Are you okay? Please forgive me, he said gently. By this time, Nancy was already breathing heavily, both shocked and furious. You almost killed me. Are you blind? I was speeding. My brakes failed. Please, let me drop you off wherever you're going. She shook her head. No, thank you. I can find my way. Please, I insist. I feel so terrible. I just want to make sure you are okay. Against her better judgment, Nancy agreed. The man introduced himself as Mr. Fubu. He looked well fed, wore an expensive wristwatch, and his car interior smelled of leather and perfume. What do you do? She asked. I run a few business here and there, and in Abuja. You are a student, I suppose? He asked. Yes, second year pharmacy student. Smart and beautiful. That's rare. I admire your type, he said. Nancy didn't respond. She kept her eyes on the road until he dropped her at the canteen. Can I have your number? I promise not to disturb you, he said. She hesitated, then gave him a fake number and walked away. She didn't want anyone to disturb her. That night, she couldn't stop thinking about the man, not out of interest, but curiosity. He was more than twice her age. What could he possibly want from a university girl? Over the next few days, Mr. Fubu found a way to get her real number. It was really surprising. He started calling and sending messages. Nancy ignored him at first. Then, one day, he sent her a long text message that read, I know you may think I am too old for you, but I know what I want. I want a wife. And I want you. I will take care of you and your family. Please consider it. The text message ended. Nancy was stunned. Now wow, marriage from a total stranger. From where to where now? She called him, Sir. I don't know what you think this is, but I am not interested. I am a student and not intending to be a housewife for now. Nancy, just hear me out. I don't want a girlfriend. I want a wife. And I know you are young, but maturity is not about age. I can change your life. Thank you, but I'm not interested, Nancy retorted. She ended the call and blocked his number. She didn't tell anyone, even Titi, her best friend. She didn't want drama. However, Mr. Fubu wasn't done. 1 week later, he showed up at her parents' home unannounced. Her mother was cooking in the backyard when a shiny SUV parked in front of their house. Good afternoon, ma, he greeted, stepping out with gifts and warm smile. Good afternoon, she replied, confused. Do I know you? Okay, ma, my name is Mr. Fubu. I came to see you and your husband. I have something important to discuss. Her father came out minutes later. Fubu introduced himself and went straight to the point. Sir, I want to marry your daughter Nancy. They both stared at him in shock. You mean our Nancy, the one in the university? Yes, sir. I want her to be my wife. I will take care of her and support her schooling if she agrees. He opened the boot of his car and brought out bags of rice, wrappers, drinks, and gave them cash. Nancy's parents couldn't hide their surprise. You mean all this for us? Her mother asked. Yes, and more if you agree. Let me marry Nancy. Nancy was in her hostel when her mother called. Hello, Nne baby. Come home quick. There is something very important we need to tell you. Nancy was confused and worried. She arrived to find her parents smiling awkwardly. Nancy, a man has come to ask for your hand in marriage, her father said. Who? She asked confused. One rich man like that, oh. His name is Mr. Fubu. He came with many gifts. He said he wants to marry you. Nancy was in shock. You accepted gifts from someone I said I don't want? Why would you do that? Her mother stepped forward. Nancy, this is a blessing. Do you know how much he gave us? Do you know what he can do for our family? I don't care. I told him I am not interested. Why will you agree without asking me? Her father stood. Because We can't keep sponsoring you. We've done our best. If you reject this man, then you are on your own." Nancy's voice shook. "So, you want to sell me off because you want money?" "It's not like that," her mother said. "We just want what's best for you. He can pay your fees, take care of you. We are not saying you should stop schooling." That day, Nancy went into her room and cried. She felt betrayed, cornered. Her dreams were slipping away. That night, with a broken heart, she agreed to the marriage. Titi, her best friend, noticed something was wrong the next day. "Are you okay?" Nancy nodded slowly. "I am getting married." "What? How can you be getting married and I don't know? You don't even have a boyfriend, at least none that I know of. So tell me, who are you getting married to?" Nancy sighed deeply. "Titi, you won't understand. My parents has already made up their mind and I just need to follow suit." Titi looked so sad. "But why? What about your dreams? What about your ambition? What happens to them?" Nancy looked at her and looked away. "Titi, don't worry. I'm going to be fine." Titi was not pleased with her decision for displeasing herself to please her parents, but there was nothing she could do to help her friend. Nancy sat on her bed, her head buried in her pillow. Her eyes were swollen from crying. The wedding was in a week time and everything was happening so fast. Mr. Fubu had returned to her parents' house with more gifts and money. Her parents, especially her mother, were not treating him like royalty. It broke Nancy's heart that they could be bought so easily. She had tried explaining how she felt to them. "Mama, I am just 21. I still have 3 years in school. I can't marry a man I barely know. He's old enough to be my father." She had pleaded one last time, but her mother had snapped. "Do you think we have money to be wasting? Your school fees, unko. Your father is tired. Even his work is not bringing enough money. And I am selling vegetables to make ends meet. This man is a blessing. You should thank God, oh." Nancy was crushed. Her father was no better. He told her that if she refused the marriage, she would stop receiving the little support they were giving her. It felt like a trap. Eventually, with the tears streaming down her face, she agreed. Agreed really. Her dreams were slipping away. But what choice did she have? The wedding ceremony was the talk of the village. Fubu spared no expense. He rented a fancy hall, brought a popular caterer, and even hired a music band. People came in numbers, mostly because of the food and drinks. Nancy wore a beautiful white dress, but her face told another story. She looked sad, distant, and out of place. Her friends from school, that is, her classmates, came, including Titi, while others were gossiping about how lucky Nancy was to be marrying a rich man. Titi stood silently by her side. She held Nancy's hand and whispered, "Are you sure you want to go through with this? You can still change your mind." Nancy gave a weak smile. "It's too late, Titi. They've already sold me." Titi hugged her tightly. She had always known Nancy was strong, but this was different. She could only hope that her friend would find a way to survive this new chapter. The first few weeks of the marriage felt like a strange dream. Fubu was surprisingly sweet. He bought Nancy clothes, took her out to restaurants, and even gave her some money to send to her parents. For a moment, Nancy began to think maybe it wouldn't be so bad after all. But everything changed after their first month together. It started with small complaints. He didn't like how she cooked. He said she wasted too much time reading. He began to insult her intelligence, saying things like, "You go to the university, but you can't even boil rice properly." Then came the control. He stopped giving her money. He told her that she had to ask before touching anything in the kitchen. He started locking the fridge at night. Whenever she asked for textbook money or anything related to school, he would say, "Am I sponsoring you or marrying you? Choose one. Either the marriage or I sponsor you. In fact, I married you, not to school you." Nancy's heart sank. She couldn't tell anyone. Everyone thought she was living in paradise. Even her schoolmates envied her. Only Titi noticed the sadness in her eyes. And in all of it, Nancy was determined to continue school no matter what. She went back to her third year with the little savings she had, buying second-hand textbook and trekking to school on some days. Fubu was no longer hiding his true colors. He would sometimes not give her money for food, and if she complained, he would remind her that she was lucky to be in his house. Then came the unexpected news: she was pregnant. And for the first time in months, Nancy smiled genuinely. She thought maybe this would soften her husband's heart. Maybe, just maybe, he will finally love her when she finally gives him a child. But her joy was short-lived. Morning sickness came, and with it, more shouting. Fubu could not stand the sound of her vomiting. He would slam the door and shout, "You are pregnant, is not my business. If you can't handle it, go back to your parents. That is irritating. Why will you throw up there? See the way you are looking, as if you are a baby. Can't you control yourself?" Nancy was shattered. Each day became harder than the last. She was tired, hungry, and emotionally drained. Eventually, she couldn't keep up with school anymore. She made the difficult decision to defer her studies until after childbirth. That night, she cried herself to sleep. Fubu became even worse during the pregnancy. He would count the cups of rice she cooked and monitor how much salt she used. He accused her of wasting his resources and eating too much. Nancy started skipping meals just to avoid arguments. She looked frail and weak, but she endured for the sake of her unborn child. When the baby finally arrived, Nancy's mother came to help. She was excited to finally enjoy her daughter's rich husband's life. But her excitement didn't last long. Fubu was cold and unfriendly. He barely greeted her, and if she cooked, he would grumble loudly. One afternoon, while Nancy was trying to breastfeed her baby, Fubu came back home from work and started shouting about the electricity bill. Nancy's mother stepped in, trying to calm him down. But he turned to her and said, "You are not paying any bills here. Don't interfere." Then, in a moment of rage, he slapped Nancy in front of her mother. Her mother gasped in shock, unable to believe what she had just witnessed. That night, Nancy's mother developed high blood pressure. The sight of her daughter being treated like a slave broke her. After 2 weeks, Fubu asked Nancy's mother to leave. "Your daughter is fine now. She can take care of her baby. I don't need an extra mouth to feed," he said bluntly. Nancy begged her mother to stay, but the older woman knew it was best to leave before things get worse. She hugged Nancy and whispered, "I am sorry. I should have never allowed this." As her mother walked out with tears in her eyes, Nancy was left alone in the house, rocking her baby in her arms. She stared at the wall, thinking, "Is this really my life now?" One night, the baby started crying uncontrollably. Fubu stormed out of the bedroom and ordered her to take the baby outside the house so he could sleep. Nancy could not say a word. She sat outside under the cold breeze, holding her crying child and whispering to her, "It's okay, baby. Mommy is here. We'll be fine someday," she said as hot tears flowed freely from her face. Life with Fubu grew worse by the day. Nancy had adjusted to eating only twice daily and managing whatever little was available in the house. Fubu had made it a habit to track every food item, counting cups of rice and number of eggs. Even as Nancy nursed her baby, her own health deteriorated. She felt like a shadow of herself. The weight of disappointment was heavy on her shoulder. Her dreams of becoming a pharmacist felt far away, like a fantasy she had no right to hope for. Titi occasionally called, sensing something was wrong. Nancy always gave short answers, brushing off the concern. She didn't want to admit she was living in misery. She didn't want pity. But one afternoon, Nancy baby had a slight fever. She asked Fubu for money to take the baby to the hospital. Fubu was irritated. That's not my problem. You women always look for reason to waste money. Just boil water and bathe the child. That is that simple. That was the moment something inside Nancy snapped. She knew she couldn't continue like this. She didn't know what to do yet, but she knew she had to do something really soon. Weeks passed. Nancy kept to herself. She stopped asking for anything. If she needed baby supplies, she borrowed small amounts of money from neighbors and promised to pay back someday. Her neighbors wondered why she kept borrowing when her husband was supposedly rich. One evening, she was cleaning the living room when Fubu's phone rang. He had forgotten it on the table before stepping into the bathroom. A message notification flashed across the screen, catching Nancy's eyes. It was from a woman named Sandra. The message read, "Last night was so amazing, baby. When are we seeing again?" Nancy froze. Curiosity overtook her fear. She picked up the phone and unlocked it. What she saw sent chills down her spine. Multiple chats with different women, some with pictures too inappropriate to describe. Fubu was living a double life. When he came out of the bathroom, she confronted him. "Who are all these women? Why are you cheating on me while I'm here suffering with your child?" Fubu didn't flinch. "And so, I am a man, a real man. If I want 100 women, I'll have them. You are just one of them." Nancy stood in shock. The audacity, the shamelessness. That was the night she made up her mind that she was leaving, and she didn't know how. Nancy waited for the perfect opportunity. When Fubu left for work the next morning, she moved quickly. She packed a few of her clothes and the baby things into a small bag. She couldn't carry much without raising suspicion from neighbors. She took her baby, locked the door, and left the house, never looking back. Her first stop was her parents' house. When she arrived, they were surprised. She was exhausted. Her eyes were puffy from crying. Her shoulders drooped with defeat, and her hands trembled as she held the baby close to her chest. Her mother opened the door and gasped at the sight of her daughter. "Nancy, what happened? Why are you back?" Nancy said nothing at first. She walked in and collapsed on the wooden chair in the living room, the baby still sleeping in her arms. Her father came out from the inner room and stared at her. "What is this? You left your husband's house? Are you mad?" "Papa, I can't stay there anymore. That man is wicked. He treats me like slave." Her father shook his head, clearly displeased. "So now, you want to bring shame to this family? Go back to your husband. Marriage is not easy. You must endure," he said. Nancy's mother, however, took her side. "No, she will not go back. I saw with my own eyes how that man treated her. Let her stay here until we figure out what to do." Nancy remained at home for a few days, praying her father would change his mind. But her peace didn't last long. Fubu came to the house one afternoon. He did not knock. He banged on the wooden door and shouted Nancy's name. Her father quickly stepped outside, surprised. What kind of disgrace is this now? Fubu yelled, "Nancy, come out here!" She appeared in the doorway holding her baby. "So you think you can just walk out of my house?" he barked. Nancy didn't answer. Her lips quivered, but she remained firm. Come back home now or I swear you will regret it. You cannot take my baby away from me, he warned. Her mother stepped between them. She's not going anywhere. She's safe here. Safe? She is my wife. You people are trying to destroy her future. My marriage, he snapped. I must get my child back if she doesn't want to be married to me again. He turned and stormed off, leaving threats hanging in the air. That night, Nancy sat on the floor of her small bedroom, rocking her baby slowly. She felt lost, trapped between a hostile husband and a father who had already washed his hands off her. Then she remembered Titi. She picked up her phone and dialed her number. Titi, please, I need your help. Can I stay with you for a while, just until I find my feet again? Titi didn't hesitate. Come, Nancy. Come tonight if you want. You and your baby are welcome. Titi lived in a modest one-bedroom flat not too far away from the university. When Nancy arrived, Titi welcomed her with open arms. You can sleep in my room. I'll stay in the parlor, she said. Nancy burst into tears. God bless you, Titi. You don't know what this means to me. Over the next few weeks, Titi helped Nancy settle in. She helped with the baby, bought baby clothes, and always encouraged her. You will rise again, Nancy. Just take things one step at a time. With Titi's support, Nancy began searching for work. She walked from street to street, asking at supermarkets, salons, and restaurants. One day, she saw a signboard, waitress needed. She entered the small restaurant and met the manager. I am Nancy. I'm willing to work. I have some experience cooking and serving. I just need the opportunity. The manager looked at her sympathetically. You can start tomorrow. It's not much, but it's honest work. Nancy smiled as she had finally taken her first step towards freedom. Nancy juggled her new job and motherhood. She would leave her baby with a neighbor, Titi's introduced to her, and go to work for long hours. The pay was small, but she saved every little bit. She avoided asking Titi for money, determined to not be a burden. Titi noticed and supported her in quite different ways, buying groceries or slipping diapers into Nancy's bag. One evening, while resting after work, Nancy brought out her books. Are you reading again? Titi asked. Yes, I want to go back to school. I deferred my studies, remember? I want to finish. Titi nodded. That's a brave decision. You will finish, Nancy, and I will help in any way I can. Nancy applied for readmission and began planning how to balance schoolwork and her work coupled with her child. It wasn't easy, but her determination kept her going. Her baby was her inspiration. Months passed and Nancy was finally readmitted into her final year. She returned to school wearing second-hand clothes, carrying a heart full of dreams. Her classmates stared, some whispered, but she held her head high. I am not here to impress anyone, she told herself. I am here to graduate. Back in the university, Nancy stayed focused. She would attend lectures in the morning, rush to work in the evening, and return late at night to care for her baby. It was exhausting, but each time she looked at her daughter's face, she found strength. Her lecturers noticed her seriousness. One even called her after class. Nancy, you are doing very well. Keep it up. She smiled politely. Thank you, sir. During exam week, Nancy barely slept. She studied all night and worked during the day. Titi helped with the baby and sometimes stayed up late quizzing her. When the results came out, Nancy had one of the highest score in her department. She wept in tears, in Titi's arms. God did it. God did not let me fall. Soon after, she was posted to a government hospital for her internship after graduation. The staff welcomed her warmly. She worked diligently, gaining respect from colleagues. Then, one morning, while checking a patient's prescription, her hands froze. She saw the name, Fubara. She looked up. A thin, pale man stood in front of her. It was Fubu. He looked sick. Nothing like the arrogant man she has once married. Their eyes met. He looked down in shame. Nancy took a deep breath, composed herself, and handed him the drugs. Take these regularly. You will need them. The drugs she gave him was HIV antiretroviral drugs, as Fubu had contracted HIV from his numerous women. As he walked away silently, she whispered, "This same man who felt he could have all the women he wanted for himself. Thank you, Lord, for saving me oh. Thank God I never stayed. Thank God I had the strength to walk away. What would have been my story by now?" Nancy said as she took a deep breath. After spending a year as an intern pharmacy, Nancy surprisingly got her employment letter as a permanent staff to become a full-time pharmacist at the hospital. As her hard work and dedication had paid off, when she got home that day, she showed Titi her employment letter as she hugged her and thanked her for her kind gesture. Then she showed her daughter, "See, mommy made you proud." She held her daughter in her arms, spinning her around in joy as she was about to start living her dreams. Thank you for watching this story. I hope you enjoyed watching. Kindly share with us in the comment section the valuable lessons you have learned from this story and what stood out for you in this particular story. As we interact in the comment section, like this video please, and kindly subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. Until I come your way again with another story, for now, from me it is bye.